Hello, 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 everyone. My name is Troy McLean, and I am so excited that we are back with X Marks the Spot. Shout out to Somerville Alphas, Xi Phi Lambda. We are back with X Marks the Spot. To those of you who do not know what X Marks the Spot is, it is an opportunity that we have created and established so that we can stay connected with a lot of the communities in various capacities, various fields. It was created and established, originated during COVID times. COVID happened, and then we had to figure out a creative way that we can still uh, connect with different communities, right? And we've had a lot of different speakers in the past, and anywhere from podiatrists, anywhere to a herbalist. We've had just a lot of different speakers from a lot of different communities and different professions. And I'm excited that we actually, I'm excited for the speaker tonight. I won't really speak. I've known him for a great deal of time, and I respect all of what he's done. I know him both personally and professionally, and he is a treat to say the least. Before I actually bring him on, I want to say thank you so much to all of the sponsors. I think they are listed on the screen. They help make this event possible. Had it not been for them, we would not be able to do what we do as well. So special shout out to each and every one of them, the sponsors that are listed on the screen. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you one more again. Before I bring them on, I'm going to give you a little bit of interesting fun facts about this gentleman. His name is Nathaniel Ford. He is the owner and broker in charge of in of Dream Reality SC LLC. Now, it is a full service real estate company located in Ladson, South Carolina, as well as the owner of Nathaniel Ford Real Estate School, also located in Ladson. Now, he has been in the real estate industry for 18 years. Now, he specializes in assisting buyers with locating and securing their desired property. Now, in 2017, he created a nonprofit organization, the Home Buyers Dream Academy, that specializes in educating prospective home buyers on the process of purchasing a home. Now, his goal is to assist as many families as he possibly can achieving the American dream home ownership. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats and dogs, waffles and chickens, and whatever else is after that, I introduce to some, I present to others, the one, the only, Nathaniel Ford. Nathaniel Ford, are you there, sir?
I'm here. Good evening.
Good evening, good evening. I'm so excited to actually have you on. I was just telling them that we go way, way, way back. I won't specify to what degree I know you and how long I've known you. I'll just say that it's good to see you doing well in your respected profession. Say hello to the people in your own little way, and then we'll get right into the questioning.
Good evening to everyone. I would like to say happy Tuesday. I think that this is a awesome opportunity that the Alphas locally here, the Somerville chapter, created to keep a pulse on what's going on in the community and to educate everyone in the community in regards to issues and information that's beneficial, not only to individually but family as well. So it's just a pleasure to be here. Anytime I'm invited and I'm able to share in regards to my occupation, I relish in the opportunity. So once again, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. Let's talk real estate.
Let's talk real estate indeed. Now, with a lot has happened, a lot is going on in the world today, some would say post COVID. Um, the way the market is going, do you think it's a good time to purchase a home? Why? Uh, yes or no, and why?
That's an excellent question. I would say that it is always a good time to purchase a home. There is no downside when it comes to home ownership. If you're not owning a home, then you're renting, and you have to live somewhere. And in today's um, market, rental and housing market, prices have risen. So, with that being said, if you're able to purchase, it's definitely a good time to purchase because the real estate market has its ebbs and flows. And um, like the pandemic, no one knew, no one could have ever imagined that the pandemic would take place. And just like that, the real estate market changed within a few months. So, we don't have a crystal ball to know what's going to happen next month, next year. So, um, you always have to maximize the opportunity that has been presented to you and maximize the opportunity time to purchase because you just don't know what the market is going to do. And as I stated, there is no downsides in regards to purchasing. And we talk about that a little bit more. So, yes, to answer your question, I would say it is still a good time to purchase.
Okay. Now, well, thank you for answering that question. I have had my, people talk, right? Social media, you used to go to the news to find information, and social media used to be the second source of
Mhm.
where we would find that information. But now everybody's going to social media first, and the news seems to be catching up. So there's a lot of information that people put out on YouTube and Facebook about, the market is doing this, the market is doing that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's always good to hear it from a professional, from someone who's actually on the ground, actually doing it.
Yes, sir.
Right. So, yeah, you did answer the question. Now, what would you say the interest rates are now? Do you think that they will go back to the way they were? Do you think that this is a new trend? Or what does that look like now, and what do we have to look forward to in the coming years?
Well, let me first say that interest rates um, they go up and down.
Yeah.
And prior to the pandemic, interest rates were about in 5, 6, somewhere around there. And what happened was because of the pandemic, the government or the Federal Reserve had to take drastic um, action to make sure that the economy didn't flop. So,
Mhm.
with that being said, the interest rates went down to an low, all
Mhm.
time low. And then in the same uh, token or the same breath, um, demand, because of the interest rates going down, demand skyrocketed because you had a lot of people that maybe could not afford to purchase a home, but because the interest rates went down, it made it affordable. So it flooded the real estate market with a lot of buyers, which isn't a bad thing. But what happened simultaneously is the supply went down.
Mhm.
So as the supply went down and the demand went up, so did the prices.
For the prices, yeah.
So when we came out of the pandemic, Well, now we hear that word inflation,
Yeah.
the word economy. We're going to go into recession. So the Federal Reserve, in an attempt to stabilize the industry or stabilize the economy,
Yeah.
they raised the interest rates. So the interest rates during the pandemic actually was in the twos, which those measures were taken to prevent the economy from going from us going into a recession, people losing their homes and so on and so forth. But coming out of the pandemic, some say an endemic, um, banks, financial institutions now they want to make money, and because we have so many people in the market, in order to stabilize the market, the rates had to go up. So what we have noticed is rates going up at an unprecedented pace because they just don't know how much needs to be done to stabilize the economy. So the rates went from while we were in the pandemic, well, before the pandemic, in the fives, all the way down to the twos. Then it crept back up into the fours, fives, to the six, and believe it or not, the interest rates now are at a seven,
Wow.
7% interest rate. And demand is still high.
Yeah.
So with demand still being high, we possibly can be looking at another rate increase, but the rates won't go back down simply because in order to tame the demand, what's happening is the pot of buyers is shrinking because the amount of people that can afford to purchase a home is getting smaller because, as we would say, some would say less affordable, but it's going to cost you more.
Yeah.
So the rates have gone up. We have seen an increase in the rates. The rates won't go back down. People think that the rates are going to go back down to twos. We won't see that again probably until we maybe in our 70s or 80s, if even then. The rates probably will go up before it goes down. But the days of the rates being in the threes and the fours are long gone. They're not coming back. So the rates have gone up, but with the rate going up, there are still ways that you can strategically work around the rates going up to put yourself in a position in order to purchase a home. As far as seller concessions, buying down your rate. Um, Now, what we're seeing become popular again is what we call an ARM. An ARM stands for an adjustable rate mortgage. An adjustable rate mortgage allows you to purchase a home at a lower rate, but the rate will increase incrementally. An example, if you buy a home today and you get an ARM, you may can lock in at a 4.5. In a year, the rate will go up to 5.25. And then um, the rate cuts off, or the rate bottoms out at maybe a 6. So looking at what the rates are today versus an ARM, you're still going to be in a better position because you're still getting a lower interest rate than if you were going to get um, a standard interest rate or fixed rate for 30 years. So even though the rates are going up, there are ways that you can um, work around that. But the rates have gone up. The rates won't go back down. So that's something that we all have to get used to in this new real estate market that we're in right now.
Wow. Definitely definitely pays to be knowledgeable about the truth versus hearsay, right? Again, like I said earlier, there's been a lot of hearsay, right? Most
Yes.
of what we hear
And
is
let me say, and that's important. You say that because the biggest disservice anyone can do is to listen and take the advice of people that would like to be a real estate professional but aren't a real estate professional. Um,
yeah,
there's a lot of you know, a lot of information on the internet. I like to say anybody that says anything can find something to prove or co-sign their point. It's not hard. You can do something on the internet and say the earth is flat. It you find somebody with some proof to say, oh yeah, it's flat. This is what it is. So same thing with the real estate market. Whatever you want to believe, you can Google something and find something um, to back that point. So you must find knowledgeable, licensed realtor to give you the truth. Because as you stated, Troy, the misinformation is doing more harm than good. And it's, you know, I hear it all the time. I might wait till the rates go down. Oh, the housing market is about to burst. The bubble is going to burst. There's no bubble to burst. There's
yeah,
never bubble to begin with. That was back in 2008. There's no bubble at all. So, you know, I would say turn a deaf ear to the chatter and find you a licensed, knowledgeable realtor that's going to give you the truth.
yeah, yeah. Well, thank you for addressing that. Now, to everyone that's actually watching, well, thank you so much for watching and viewing. If you have questions, I know we have two so far. We will
All
get
right.
to those questions. The first one comes to us from Marcus Clark. He says, "Where do you buy land?"
That's a good
Um,
question. You can buy land wherever land is available. I will tell you the more affordable land is going to be out in more of the less populated areas, more of the rural areas. The closer you get into the city, the more premium, or you're going to pay a premium price for land. So wherever you desire to purchase land, you can buy. You just have to keep in mind that if you want to purchase land closer into the city, it's going to be at a premium price versus if you wanted to go out. I'll give you an example: Cordsville, Walterboro, Dorchester, St. Stephen's, places like that. You can buy land at a lesser price. So it all depends on where you want to go. All depends on where you want to go. But land is everywhere. You can drive up and down the highways and you can see signs, land for sale. And a lot of times, you know, we hear people say, well, there's a shortage of land. There really isn't a shortage of land. What it is the price of land, depending on where you want to buy it, may
yeah.
be more than what you're willing to pay. I have land listed now in Lincolnville, 0.25 acres for $75,000. I have
Wow.
listed in Hughie, 16 acres for $650,000. So it
Wow.
all depends on where you want to go, and it all depends on how much you're willing to pay.
Wow. Well, thank you, Marcus
Mhm.
Clark, for that question. At some point, um, I'm going to read Martell Morrison's question, but let me ask you this question. At some point in those areas that you mentioned, the rural-like areas, do
Mhm.
you think that those areas will be more of importance? Like right now, you mentioned that they're rural,
Mhm.
right? Do you project that at some point people would have that, that man, I wish I had gotten that property, or man, like right now, you go out, those areas aren't as prominent as you go to the city of North Charleston,
Mhm.
Goose Creek, or Somerville. Once upon a time, Goose Creek was too far, but
Mhm.
now Goose Creek is just inundated with people. Do you foresee that happening with a lot of those areas that are considered to be rural.
Yeah, it's already happening. Mounts Corner was one such area. Well, and it's still, believe it or not, it's still considered rural, but the prices have gone up tremendously. They have a Publix now, believe it or not.
I
Yeah,
didn't know. I
yeah,
didn't know.
yeah, yeah. Mouse Corner has a Publix. So,
I
uh,
live West Ashland, so I don't have to go out that far.
oh
I
yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't know.
yeah.
I didn't
Mouse Corner has a Publix. You on 61 going towards West Ashley near. They have a Summers Corner. They were
know.
supposed
Okay.
to build one over there as well, but you're absolutely right. We have the Walmart distribution center. We have Volvo. All of those companies have built massive, um, massive buildings where they
Yeah.
do manufacturing.
Yeah.
And because of that, the land out there now is becoming more valuable. So the price that you would have paid
Yeah.
back then, even though it's not ridiculously high, it does cost you a little more. But one thing that you have to do and you have to be ever so mindful of is when you purchase land, you always want to take a look at what's going on around.
Yeah.
Because just because a neighborhood or area um, today may be less populated, you need to look at what's going to happen 5 years from now. And when you can see what's happening in a particular area and forecast what's coming to a particular area, then you know that the land or the value of land is going to go up. So definitely, and Richville is still in the beginning phases. Even in the Santee area, they have, believe it or not, in Santee, D.R. Horton just built a brand new subdivision. Same house in Santee is listed for 300,000, and Mouse Corner and Cane Bay is listed close to 400,000.
Wow.
$100,000 difference because of the area. So definitely, if you want to build equity, purchase a home or purchase land somewhere now that's being built up, and in 3 4 years down the road, you have you some sweet equity, a great investment. So yes, the places that people really didn't want to go, now we're seeing those places becoming more and more populated. KMB is building tens of thousands or more homes. Mounts Corner is exploding. So if you wanted to buy some land, say in Cross, St. Stephen's, because the development, what happens, it just goes further and further and further out.
Yeah.
So definitely is a good opportunity to get that land or buy that land now. Orangeburg is another area. Some may say, well, there's nothing in Orangeburg. Well,
That's what they say.
well, maybe there's anything in there now, but again, you have to be a visionary. You have to see what's going around and see what's being built. Something's about Claflin.
That
Uh,
sounds like somebody who went to Claflin. Yeah.
yeah, but the area is being built up, so definitely you're spot on with that. Spot on.
Yeah. We're going to get to Mr. Morrison's question, then we'll go back to some questions that I had for you.
Uh-huh.
Dr. Morrison says, can you explain the process necessary to get started for those? Well, yeah. You moving so fast, Mr. Morrison. That's one of the questions we already have. But since you already brought it up, can you explain the process necessary to get started for those viewers who may be looking to purchase a home in the future? For example, savings, debt to income analysis, credit score requirements, payment history, down payment requirements, assistance, etc. I'll lead into that question by saying my next question was about credit specifically. Then you can answer all of the questions prior to. Anyone else that has questions, put them in the chat. If I don't say it in that moment, I promise you I will get a chance to read the question to Mr. Ford. So yes, credit score, right? What does a person's credit score need to be? Is it 450, 350, 250, and just believe God? Or is it 550, 650, 750? Tell me what my credit score need to be.
As long as God is in that credit report, we believe.
Right, right.
The credit spectrum goes from as low as 350 up to 850. Believe it or not, you only need the desired credit score that lenders look for to approve somebody for a home is 620, a 620. And let me quantify that. You have 3 credit scores:
Okay.
Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. The lender pulls what we call a tri-merge credit report, and then they take the middle score out of all 3. So if you have a 700, a 500, and an 800, 800 highest, 500 the lowest, 700 the middle score. So they take the middle score out of all 3 when determining what they're going to accept as far as acceptable credit. You can, the higher your credit, the stronger your file becomes. However, there now you can get approved for a home with a credit score lower than a 620, but I wouldn't advise that. Reason being is because you're paying premium price, meaning that because the file becomes more risky, they're going to charge you more money, and you're going to end up paying a higher interest rate and pay more money to get that loan.
You mean
So
higher than that 7%?
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Higher, higher. So you want to make sure you have at least a 620 for your credit score. And believe it or not, 620 to 670, you're basically getting about the same, is the same rate from a 670 to like a 740. Again, those people getting about, there's this big myth that I got to get to the 700. I got to get to the 700. I got to get to this, and I got to get that. People set those amounts, and they think, well, this is going to be the breaking point where a lot of people could have bought a home years ago when the interest rate was at a 2 or 3. But because you were trying to, I need to get to 700, I need to get to 700, now they missed the ship. And now they have to get what the interest rate is today. But you only need a 620. And when you look at the spectrum from a 350 to 850, a 620 is pretty, it isn't hard to get. It really isn't, because you max out at an 850. So 620 is the desirable credit score we want you to have.
All right. So I got my 620, right?
All right.
I got my 620. I got a job. I have a decent amount of income coming in. Like, okay, I got my 620. I got a job I've had for an extended period of time.
Mhm.
How much money do I need to save up? So what do I like? And
It all
after I
depends.
save, go ahead, I'm saying.
It all depends on the loan program. In real estate, we call them loan products. We call them loan products. Loan product is what type of loan are you going to use? A conventional loan, a FHA loan, a VA loan, a USDA loan, South Carolina State Housing loan. All of those loans have a different criteria. And with those loans, the requirements are different. With an FHA loan, you need 3.5%. With a conventional loan, you may need as high as 20%. With a USDA loan, is 100% financing, no money down. With the VA loan, is 100% financing, no money down. However, we can't confuse down payment with closing costs, because even though the loan may be 100%, you still have to pay money to close the loan. So it can get a little tricky because it depends on what type of loan you're going to utilize. And the real estate market that we're in now, because it's changing, sellers are now becoming more open to give concessions, meaning help buyers purchase a home. So 6 months ago, sellers weren't paying any closing costs. None. I mean, we couldn't even write it in the contract. Now, I just wrote a contract and they're paying $20,000 to help my client buy down the interest rate and close the loan. That would have never happened 6 months ago. But that's
Why?
the effect. That's the effect of the Federal Reserve trying to tame inflation. The amount of people that can afford that house is now smaller. And if a seller has to sell, that means they got, as Whoopi Goldberg said in Sister Act, you got to get up off of that thing. You got to get up off some of that money.
I was going to say, so,
Yeah,
so
they have to get up off of some of that money, some of that profit to help buyers get into a house. So, you know, I can't say you need 5,000, you need 10,000, you need 15,000. But what I can say, and what I usually instruct my buyers, is you want to have a minimum of at least, I would say, $5,000 in the bank, because there are costs associated with purchasing a home, such as earnest money, home inspection, appraisal. So you do need some money. You can't get it. You can't come to the table with no money. So I would say shoot to save at least 5,000 to begin the process. But as far as, remember, down payment, closing costs, two totally separate things. And let me also say this: if you have a 401k and you've been on your job for any amount of time, that is an allowable way or means you can take money from out of your 401k and put towards the purchase of a home.
No penalty?
My client that's closing on Friday, Lord, please let Ian stay ashore, because insurance companies don't like to write policies when there's a storm on the coast. But my client actually pulled out $18,000 out of his 401k and used it towards paying off a credit card, which helped increase his credit score. And the rest of that money is going towards the down payment on his home. And he's only paying like 40 something dollars back a pay period. He doesn't have to claim it on his taxes because he's purchasing a home, and they didn't penalize him for pulling the money out.
That was going to be my question. So I guess there are rules that favors home buyers if they're using their funds from their 401k.
That's correct.
You avoid certain penalties.
That's correct.
Okay.
They're not going to send you a form. You have to take it to your tax person and claim it, because it's not a withdrawal. You're taking it out, but you're using it towards the purchase of a home. So, and that's one of the things when it comes to purchasing. We talk about, and I don't know how many people we have listening, but this is a good time to put in the shameless plug. We have an event called the Gathering of the Dreamers. And the Gathering of the Dreamers, it is a national gathering of individuals, like-minded individuals that desire to purchase a home. And I go over, this is only a hour show, but these questions that you're asking and the questions that our viewers are asking, I take time and I actually dive into these questions and these topics deeper and break it down, because I would like to say you need 3,000, 5,000, but that's not true. You could need less, you could need more. So there's a lot of different factors when there's a lot of you know with doing real estate. There's a lot of fundamentals, a lot of things that go on behind the scenes. A lot of people would never know, but there's a lot of things that has to fall in place, and we can kind of manipulate things and strategically work things out because someone can say, "Well, I purchased the home and didn't have to put down any money," but maybe they got a USDA loan, and then somebody else comes to me and say, "Well, my cousin purchased a home with no money. Why are you telling me I got to put down $10,000?" Well, that's because your cousin qualified for a USDA loan because they met a certain
Criteria.
income. You exceed that income, so you don't qualify.
Uh,
So there's a lot that goes on. So that's why a lot of answers, I would like to say yay or nay or this or that, but it's so broad and so vast. It really, it's kind of like pulling a string. You ask one question, and I'm trying to keep it, my replies as short as I can, because we can literally talk about each loan that I mentioned. We could talk about it for an hour. We could talk about a conventional loan for an hour, a FHA loan for an hour, a VA loan for an hour. So, yeah. Did I
wow.
answer the question? See, I forgot what the question was.
No, you answered the question. You
Okay.
answered the question. Now that you said something that's leading me into my next question. Again, for anyone who has any questions, type it inside of the comments, and
Is
I
somebody from
promise
North
you,
Carolina and Georgia asking a question?
we will ask the question at some point. Are you able to assist in Georgia?
Yeah, we are. We are Georgia as well as North Carolina. Nikki, we're coming to North Carolina November the 5th at the Piedmont Central Community College. We're going to be at the, I can't remember the theater, but we're going to be in Charlotte, North Carolina on November the 5th at Piedmont Community College, and we're going to have what we call the Gathering of the Dreamers. We're going to have loan officers. I'm going to be there. My team is going to be there. I'm going to talk about credit. I'm going to talk about the process to own the home, what you need to do to get in a position to own a home. So we can help in North Carolina and Georgia to answer the question. We can.
There you go. Keep those questions coming when we see them. Okay, someone's got another question. I bought my house during the previous housing downturn over 10 years ago. Do you see foreclosures and short sale homes coming on the market similar to 10 to 14 years ago?
That's an excellent question. And the answer would be no. The reason why the answer is no is because 10 years ago, the reason why we saw foreclosures and short sales were because of predatory lending and subprime loans.
Mm,
And people actually were getting adjustable rate mortgages, but those adjustable rate mortgages were over doubling their mortgage payments. And some of them had no clue. Some of them probably shouldn't have been able to purchase the home to begin with. So what happened is Dodd-Frank um, um, is a financial um, guideline that was implemented to curb predatory lending and to prevent what happened 10 years ago from happening again. So the people that actually are buying homes now, they can't afford the homes. And the
mhm.
rates aren't doubling, and they're not victims of predatory lending. So I just actually read an article in the Business Journal, or maybe it was an online article, and the article says that foreclosures they have gone up, and the reason why they went up is because, remember, during the pandemic, it was a moratorium on a lot of things. holds were placed on mortgages. Um, People weren't going to court. Everything came to a halt. So the reason why we're seeing an increase is simply because things are kind of getting back to normal, but it's getting back to a normal prior to the pandemic. It's not escalating because people are defaulting on their loans. It's simply because things are catching back up. So you're always going to have foreclosures and you're always going to have short sales, but the foreclosures and the short sales are not nowhere close to what we saw 10 years ago because of the predatory lending situation. So to answer your question, no. Oh, and let me also say this: lenders, because the economy and the market is so great, believe it or not, instead of lenders selling the homes at a discounted price, they're actually putting in the work or upgrading the house and then putting it on the market and getting top dollar. And that's another thing, that's another um, section of real estate that realtors do. We call them REOs, where we actually can have a relationship with the asset manager at a bank. And when they get a foreclosure, the realtor has what we call a line of credit. And they take pictures, send them to the asset manager, and the asset manager says, okay, what do you think we need to do to this house to get, top dollar or to get what market price? And the
Yeah.
realtor can say, well, paint it, new light fixtures, put in carpet, and it'll raise the value. So what the realtor then does, go out, get new carpet, replace um, the light fixtures, paint, and then the bank, instead of losing money, they actually make money.
Mm.
So the foreclosures and the short sales, they're always going to be here, but nowhere near the levels that we saw 10 years ago. But that's a great question. You sound like somebody that keep their ears to the screen. You know what's going on.
Before I read that next question, uh, I want to I want to go back to something that you said earlier and ask that question specifically.
Hmm.
You mentioned something about 100% financing,
Hmm.
right? Can you name at least two programs that support 100% financing? And you don't have to give the entire criteria, but
Okay.
kind of give a snapshot of what the requirements are for someone who can potentially get 100% financing.
Okay. The first one is a VA loan for those individuals that served in the military, and you could get what we call the COE, certificate of eligibility. That's 100% financing. The realtor will work with you, excuse me, the loan officer will work with you to get your COE and let you know how much you're approved for. The second type of loan is what we call USDA, United States Department of Agriculture. And that's not the meat people. That's not the beef people.
Okay.
No, but I have to say that. Come on. Now,
I
as soon
understand.
as somebody say USDA, what do you? Everybody mind goes to chicken, beef. You see it. That is a division of the USDA, believe it or not.
Yes,
But
sir.
this
I got you.
particular division of the USDA, they deal with housing,
Yeah.
and it's 100% financing. The criteria, there's two different types. Well, the first criteria, the house must be in a rural area. And you can visit USDA.gov, and there's two different types: guarantee and 502 direct loan program. Guarantee 502 direct loan program. The guarantee loan goes through a regular mortgage company. There are income caps, but there are some awesome incentives to that program. The USDA direct program is also has income caps, but that program is the bomb if you can qualify. The program has the best interest rate that you can get now is a 3.5.
Which
Yeah.
one is this now?
Yeah, you know, right?
Which one is this? Which one is this again?
The USDA
Hmm.
502 direct loan program, the interest rate right now is a 3.5. Not only is the interest rate low, they give you what they call a subsidy. A subsidy makes the mortgage payment affordable. Whereas everybody else is paying 17, 18, you might pay 1,200, 1,300. And another awesome thing about the program is if you were to lose your job, they will put a hold on your mortgage without you being past due. They would put a moratorium on your mortgage as well as help you find suitable employment until you get back on your feet. That program is specifically geared towards helping low income families to make home ownership available and accessible. And that's why I said at the offset, if you can buy, you need to buy. Because home ownership is not about showing off a house, not about having parties, which is nice, but home ownership is about building stability and financial freedom for yourself and your family. Home ownership, owning land, owning property from the days of Adam and Eve until now is always the best investment. Stock market up and down, investments up and down, real estate market or the real estate industry was here from the very beginning and is going to be here even during the Great Depression. If you look at it, the reason why interest rates dropped so much when the pandemic happened was because the economy is built on the back of the housing market. If the housing market fails, the economy fails.
Mm.
This goes to a little deeper than what I can talk about here, but loans are purchased. Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Quicken Loans, they lend money, but they don't keep those loans on their book. They sell those loans to investors. Who do you think is the biggest investor that holds mortgages? Have you ever heard of Sally Mae? Sally Mae is the who? That's the government with your student loan. Well, Sally Mae got some brothers that's called Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae. And those are governmental institutions or entities that hold mortgages. So when the pandemic happened, they were, wait a minute, there's no way we can allow tens of thousands of people to go in foreclosure because the economy is going to go bankrupt. So that's why real estate is so important. And people really don't understand and really grasp how wealth, at the end of the day, most people, you look at basketball stars, football stars. I was reading an article last night about Mayweather, how his biggest investments are in real estate. Once they make money, they put that money in real estate. And we're no different. Even though we might do it on a smaller level, we still need that investment. So USDA, VA are programs, and there's another one. Well, it's not really 100% financing, but South Carolina State Housing has a program where they can help you with your down payment, which kind of makes it 100% financing. So those are the loans that you can get 100% financing for.
Wow, you just gave a plethora of information, I'm sitting here thinking about specifically. Well, I ask this question, then I'll read a question from the audience. The question I would have in response to what you just said is, what qualifies as low income housing? Is that like a certain income in terms of, well, I make this amount, and if it is, because there may be some viewers that are on right now that are maybe in that phase of housing, and they don't think that they have to, or they think that they have to make a certain amount in order for them to afford to be able to purchase a house. What is that amount to the viewers that are on? And it doesn't have to be the specific exact amount, just a roundabout figure for anyone who thinks they may qualify, or for those who actually do qualify and they don't even know that they qualify for the USDA loan.
For the USDA guarantee, if you go to the website, there's actually a chart and it has the income limits. And I don't want to start giving false information. And
Mhm.
for the USDA direct, it depends. It goes by household numbers.
Mhm.
One household member, two household member, three household member, four household member, five household member.
Mhm.
Depending on how many people you have in your household, there are three different categories: low, very low, and moderate. And then when you look at that chart, you look at your income, and then you're going to fall somewhere within those numbers. So I would encourage, if you're interested about any of those programs, of course, you can reach out. They'll put my information up there to kind of guide and lead you. But USDA.gov, and if you pull up USDA Guarantee, USDA Direct 502, they have the income limits for each program.
Thank you for providing that information. And I think that's just the first step. Second, third, fourth, fifth step is definitely get with a realtor,
Hmm.
um, and get with Nathaniel Ford with Dream Realty LLC, because it's one thing to know that you qualify, but there have people out there that know exactly what they're doing, so you don't have to feel empowered to do it yourself, right?
That's right.
Some of us will feel inspired and empowered to do it ourselves to save a nickel. Praise the Lord. But you sell yourself short,
That's right.
with opportunities that you may miss. So he gave that information willingly and freely. But after you see that you do qualify, contact him so that he can advise and counsel and guide you to the next steps in getting your home. Okay, we're going to go to the next question. Are there any particular programs or loan types such as FHA that you recommend? I know he mentioned that. I know you spoke about the FHA slightly
Hmm.
earlier.
Hmm.
You can touch base on it to answer his question.
That's a good question. Any program that you can get approved for, you can that I won't say one is better than the other. Believe it or not, loans have different historical backgrounds as well. Um, I didn't know, but I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to learning this stuff. But FHA loan falls under what we call HUD, Housing Urban Development.
Mhm.
As soon as you hear HUD, you think of what? Black people, minorities. Well, believe it or not, back in the 1940s, 50s, black people couldn't even, they wouldn't even give black folks an FHA loan. You could not even qualify for them. Not because you didn't make the money, because of discriminatory practices. So FHA loan is, I don't want to say specifically for minorities. FHA loans, the majority of people, and there's more information that I could give now, but the majority of people that maximizes those loans is simply because you have to put the least amount of money down to get into a home. It's not that it's better or worse than other loans. It's just it makes it more affordable. for you to purchase a home. Which loan is best? There is none that's best. Is whatever loan that you qualify for is a loan you should maximize. And with that being said, that's a good segue into I want to show you all, because I know our time is about to run out. I want to show you all a video really quick of the event that's coming up in Charlotte. Watch it. Is it too much to have the girl that gave you your order at Chick-fil-A or Hardee's, or the waiter that waited on you, or the bus driver that drove the bus? Is it too much for these people to have a measly 1,300 square feet, 3-home, bedroom, and 2 baths? But I would say no. I would go as far to say that you are deserving. Oh, yeah, I didn't get y'all don't seem excited. I said you are deserving. Just like the doctor can have a nice house, you can have a nice house. Just like the attorney can have a nice house, you can have a nice house. Just like how those that work in banking can have a nice house, you can have a nice house. I want you to repeat after me and say, I am deserving. Say it again. I am deserving. Say it again. I am deserving. Now come on, make some noise and put your hands together. So I just want to say, because I know our time is gone, but I feel we just got started, but that's okay. But I want to say, to wrap it up, first I want to thank the alphas. I want to be an alpha so bad, but I don't think y'all to take me. I gotta go finish some classes. It's the historical fraternity. And MLK was a part of it, wasn't he?
Sure no.
I got the cover. But let me say that I'm passionate, and my realtors are passionate about what we do. I like the, I adopted this saying from one of my heroes when it comes to just in general. There was a famous theologian, Howard Strong, that says, don't ask what the world needs, but ask yourself what makes you come alive. And then go do that. Because what the world needs is people that have come alive. Real estate makes me come alive. Helping people makes me come alive. If you work and pay rent, and this is my tagline, and I say it every place I go, home ownership is not just for the rich, it's not just for the well-to-do, and it's not just for those with high-paying jobs. Home ownership is for all that dare to dream. I want to invite you personally to join us in Charlotte, North Carolina on November the 5th at 11 o'clock. We're going to be at Piedmont Community College, and we're going to have a blast. Again, thank you. Thank you, the administrator. We have 10 Chick-fil-A gift cards. I will get the names, and we're going to do a drawing, and my admin is going to contact those that attended tonight. I don't know how many people attended. If we have more than 10, then we have to do the drawing, but we're going to make sure we do a drawing to give out those 10 gift cards. And again, I thank you all for having me.
Thank you guys so much. The young lady who we could not get to your question, please contact Nathaniel Ford. He'll definitely answer your question. Please stay tuned for future events we have regarding X marks the spot. Somerville Alpha, Xi Phi Lambda. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Support what we're doing. You see our Cash App at the bottom of the screen, our Venmo at the bottom of the screen, to our efforts into provide information from the community in various professions, various career fields. And thank you, thank you, thank you. And I hope everyone has an amazing evening, and be safe and get prepared for this storm or whatever that's supposed to be affecting us in some sort of way. You are deserving. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. You have yourself a wonderful evening.